We're out in Monterrey for my biometrics.
Testing. Hola, Internet amigos. It's Friday, the 12th of December. It's 10:43 a.m. I am in Monterrey.
I'm telling you, there are some filthy rich people in this place. I saw a Maserati, look like a Ferrari, pull up. This woman dressed to the nines, jewelry, getting into her apartment. Well, this is the Monterrey I heard about. My God, there's so much fucking money here.
Mexico. Wow, what an interesting place. Let's talk about the new foreign policy national security document put out by the Department of War and the US State Department and so on and so forth. Sorry, I've been pretty busy. I have to get ready to leave Mexico within the next 4 to 6 weeks. Monterrey, what an interesting place. I have never seen a bigger disparity in wealth in all my life. If you didn't know, in Monterrey, up near the border, it's like considered like a Los Angeles financial hub of Mexico. And it's two cities. One city where I stayed at the Airbnb is pretty grubby, dirty, and I'm thinking, well, this doesn't match the postcard, and I didn't realize there's a literal dividing road, a gully, or a ravine, and then you got to go through a tunnel, and then there's a completely another world, the rich part of Monterrey. And when I say rich, I mean filthy rich. Like, I've seen wealthy people in Querétaro, I've seen wealthy people in La Condesa, La Roma, around Mexico City, but I have never seen so many Bugattis, Maseratis, Ferraris, women in their 40s and 50s dressed to the nines, dripping with gold and silver in luxury apartments. I've never seen it before. And you can go through a tunnel in 5 minutes in an Uber, and you're in a grotty part of town. I have never seen such a wealth disparity in all my life. It's so stark, so divided. Regardless, the nice part is certainly nice, and you know me, I'm the cafe ho, so I'm in cafe ho heaven, but you got to ask, this disparity, you know, I was just listening to Bannon about a year ago with 7.7 million views talking about, you know, we got to tax the rich at 44%. You earn over $5 million, we got to tax you. And if we don't, there's going to be trouble. It's going to be a leftist style populist revolution, and you know, Pocahontas wants to take all your assets, which the EU was talking about as well. And I'm afraid I don't see the Trump administration changing anything in that regards, are they? So I'm not sure how it's all going to work. But let's talk national security. First off, I'd like to say big picture. Just let me double check the sound. Big picture, I'd like to say that everything looks good. Big picture, the super big picture. The EU is the enemy. The European Union is absolutely the enemy. It's not Russia, it's a third world shithole. God bless the Slavs, they've suffered enough. If you didn't know, I was going to be a monastic in the Russian Orthodox Church. And that's a whole other story. So don't think I'm just being mean to the Slavic peoples. They have suffered since I was in my early teens. I would wonder if I was picked up by the Cheka and I had an icon of Christ and Mary under my pillow. Would I renounce? Would I blame my mother, my brother, my sister, and beg not to be taken away to the Gulag for a tenner, 10 years? I grew up on Solzhenitsyn, the suffering of the church, the Ukrainian Eastern Rite Catholic, and I've forgotten the book I read years ago about a Communist Party parents, and he was the son, and what he went through when he rebelled. And all the miracles he talks about, whether you want to believe that stuff or not. So I'm steeped in that value. But Russia is a third world shithole. St. Petersburg or Moscow and some of the bigger cities are very nice. Love to visit, love to see the beautiful Russian Orthodox churches. But, you know, the EU is the enemy. China is a product of the EU. It's a product of Kissinger and Associates. It's a product of the Council on Foreign Relations. It's a product of the Atlantic Council. It's a product of the Trilateral Commission. It's a product of Rockefeller Foundation. It's a product of all the Georgetown homosexual set, closet or otherwise, maybe friends with Nick Fuentes, who have seriously deindustrialized America at the manufacturing and industrial level. And then, of course, we're shifting all their high technology research and divine to the emerging Greater Israel. And then they had all their critical infrastructure backdoored, and we're still in the echoes of this as they attempt to remove it all. and we watch the leverage the EU still has. Remember, Israel is simply a military base. It's not running the show. It's a City of London production. It's a Lord Jacob Rothschild, who I believe is still alive. I don't believe he's dead. No one just dies suddenly. It's always they're hospitalized, they're on well, and they just died, and then that was it. It was in the news for 5 minutes. Kissinger went the same time. I don't care if he's 105. That guy's full of baby's blood and stem cells. He'll live to 140. I believe he's still alive. I believe that, my poster boy is Amit Yoran. He suddenly dies of cancer, all in the same 18-month time period. Yehud Zisapel and his brother Zohar Zisapel of Rad Group, they're suddenly dead, all within 18 months, and I don't buy a word of it. They're slowly disappearing, their assets, slowly just winding down the very public facade. Now, what does this mean for this US foreign policy, the Trump administration? Now, please remember, Trump is not running anything. This is a Department of Defense or a Department of War, FBI intelligence community, and skull and bones type waspy operation. You also, of course, have the billionaire class. Big picture, going after the EU as much as JD Vance is Peter Thiel's boy. JD Vance has gone after the EU. I love it. I love the rhetoric. It's exactly what you have to go after. They are the enemy. It's Satan itself. But there's a problem, of course, and that is, are you going to free the European people, or are you just going to do a deal with the EU Eurofag castle dwellers? Why don't you strip them of all their assets, take every dime? They have destroyed the United States. They have affected foreign and domestic policy to the point where the United States has run around slamming, killing and destroying all over the world, making itself thoroughly hated. I think there needs to be some compensation. One, to the United States and the people of the United States. I'd say you can pay off all your debt. There's no shortage of anything. The supply chain's still intact for now, and that's the big worry, hyperinflation and supply chain. Otherwise, forget about US dollars and selling off. It's all garbage. US dollars backed by the $1 trillion US military. It's backed by there are going to be eventually 9 carrier battle groups. The US controls all the choke points of the world. The US military is second to none. Its cyber, its satellite systems, its direct energy weapons, which blew up the Satan ballistic missile in its silo in Russia. There is no threat to anyone. China's a joke. Xi Jinping is under the control of US elites. Putin is under the control of US elites, and he will be rebuilt to threaten the EU, and so they pull their weight and defend themselves. And then, God willing, the US will hopefully, and I'm talking big picture here, hopefully, it seems it won't tax the rich, which is a problem. They're going to have to tax rich people. The option is, as I sit in Monterrey, I see the divide, and I'm thinking, in this little world, are very smart, very polite people, these very smart, polite people, that they realize, can they hold back the tide of that other half of town? I mean, the haves and the have-nots, I've never seen such a stark difference in my life. This is really an indication for the world. At some stage, there's got to be a system put in place, just a basic housing, basic access to electricity, basic access to clean water, basic access to internet, and a basic access to education. Very basic. There has to be a bare minimum standard. We all live on this planet. We all cherish our children's future, and we're all mortal. Don't call me a socialist. I'm just an ordinary human being. Familiar love. I want everyone to get along, do the best they can. People who work hard get rewarded. A meritocracy, not an oligarchy, but an actual meritocracy. And, we all live happily ever after and reach for the stars. Whether or not that's going to happen, that's another story. But right now, we have a vile, disgusting system of epic proportions in every sense. The only last hope is the United States and the US Constitution and Bill of Rights. The traditions of the US, which are still alive, they just need to be dusted off. You've got to get the whippersnipper out, you've got to get the lawnmower out, you've got to get the shovel out, and you've got to start digging up and rebuilding on those foundations. You have a tradition of prepping, a tradition of freedom, a tradition of distrusting government, which should also mean distrust of giant transnational corporate banking cartels. I'm tired of hearing about smaller government. Right now, I want larger but yet more efficient government of the people, by the people, and for the people, to smash to pieces the giant transnational corporates. I want corporations banned. I want an end to corporate structures. I want it now in the hands of small, medium, and large family-sized business. This whole corporate structure needs to be smashed once and for all. I'm not exactly sure. I have thought about it. There is a small place for a corporate a corporate entity. I get what it's for. I get that it reduces risk. I get that it could be beneficial, but there's going to have to be severe limits on corporations, the size they can be and the amount of influence they wield. So let's have less libertarian bullshit from the Peter Singers and the Koch brother bullshit artists, and who fund right-wing think tanks like the Cato Institute to find Bible quotes justifying them avoiding tax. It's to the point where America, look, you're rightly laughed at because there's something fucking wrong with you. You are infected by absolute effing demons. And I'm not sure how you think. I don't know you. I love Dallas. I still missed Who Shot JR, the final episode of Dallas. I still haven't watched it. That's 35 years ago. I laugh with American friends. I said, we all got to sit here and watch the final episode of Who Shot JR. Your infectious popular culture, which is not all bad, but I grew up on that. And I grew up on the thing that America was keeping us safe, and we criticized the crap out of America. But, you know, if you needed another aircraft carrier battle group jetty built, I would bring the cement, and I would bring the cement mixer, and I would bring a shovel, as much as I criticize the United States. We're at a point now where hatred for the United States is at its peak, and a lot of that is artificial, but there's still a grounding justification, a foundation for that hatred, if you haven't noticed, particularly what has been done in the Middle East. We're still at a point where we cannot have a discussion about who Paul Bremer is, Bremer, the Tsar of Iraq, who was the 2IC at Kissinger and Associates. You know, the term Kissinger should be on everyone's lips. We should understand Kissinger and Associates. Everyone sort of got George Soros, right? But that was just the other MI5, MI6 build, City of London build to run around playing leftist demigod. But Kissinger was not on everyone's lips. It's interesting that, isn't it? Putin is a direct construct of Yevgeny Primakov and Heinz Kissinger. The Primakov doctrine, we've talked about it, the multipolar world order. They now have a variation of it, which makes me a little nervous. The tripolar world order, probably going to be headed by try-anything Nick Fuentes. We're living in a world where they're rattling cages because never let a good crisis go to waste. So we see stuff coming out of the Trump administration's mouth by the half-wits who are presenting it. And this is deliberate. It's psychological warfare. If you haven't noticed, there are good things going on, and I will talk specifically about the new national security document in a minute. But if you notice, the frustration with the current Trump administration is that it's populated by half-wits, talking half-wits. That Noam, what's her name, is just a freaking joke. They're all these Stepford wives covered in makeup, 6 inches thick. They all look like low-quality porn stars out of LA, you know, cafe, diner, and, you know, just half-wits. But, of course, that's the plan, because the dirty work's going to be done over the next 3 to 4 years, obviously, and then we'll see what comes in after that. And I think you're going to see after the crisis, after the drama, and I mean endless drama. We have not even begun the drama yet. Wait for the invasion down to Monterrey. Wait for 200 miles of the Mexican border and the Baja to be taken. You know, I don't know if they're going to finally do it. I'm hoping that rationality will remain. I hope it's just a threat to Claudia Sheinbaum and her Bolshevik ways and her friendship with Macron, of course, the victim of pedophilia of a man dressing as a woman. Obviously, it's a man. Bridget Macron has clearly started life as a man. I don't actually care whether he has a PP or not. I actually couldn't care less. The fact that he was 14 years old when he or she first cracked onto him is obviously kind of French, to be honest. But what Candace Owens seems to miss and pass over is the fact that he worked directly for Evelyn de Rothschild for 5 years, and he was clearly just an asset of Rothschild. And we don't hear that rhetoric from the evil, demonic piece of shit Candace Owens, and she is, and Tucker Carlson. People who cannot, of course, engage in a rational conversation about the political Zionist movement and Jewish power itself. I don't see any of the academics like a Professor Shlomo Sand, a Professor Norman Finkelstein, even a dirty old Chomsky. I can't stand anymore. I grew up on Chomsky thinking he was a walking man god, and he's just a miserable asshole. But Manufacture of Consent, the documentary and book, is must reading and, of course, must watching. You shouldn't be able to graduate high school without that worldview. And, of course, you should have to do a treatise, a deconstruction of Wag the Dog with Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro. The point is that we're not seeing the right rhetoric. We're not seeing tax the rich and just tell them you can either pay 44% over $5 million or you will be torn apart by people on the street. You will get 5 million Norwegians and there are 300 million firearms. So how about you pay some tax? Otherwise you're going to have nothing. That's what's going to happen. There's going to be a left-wing populist revolution if It's not tempered. Simple as that. I don't see that. I don't see Trump, the so-called savior of the working class, savior of the blue-collar Democrats, savior of the Reagan Democrats, savior of the working class, doing sweet F all on that regard. But we're too busy talking about, I don't know, whether Noam What's-Her-Face is riding a horse on a work day. We've, of course, got the beautiful distraction of all the Mexicans and third worlders who were invited up by those white crackers from New York, or Trump's nice friends, the Bidens. I mean, they're all friends. Tucker Carlson's best friends with Hunter Biden. They're all friends. All old friends. Frenemies, hate each other, but they're all from the same place. The same schools, same education, the same brothels, the same sex parties, the same coke parties, the same nightclubs. They're all out of the same scene. As someone said to me of the West Australian elite, they all go to the same hookers, high-end hookers. They all got the same cocaine dealers, and they all go to UWA and private schools, and it's just all the same people. And it's no different. No different here in Mexico. No different in the United States. No different in Australia. No difference in the UK. No difference in Europe. It's the same system. It's just all drugs, drug money laundering, legitimizing drug money, liquid cash, and constant infighting by a bunch of inbred, weak-chinned pieces of garbage. We never focus on the issues that matter. What are the issues? An international banking or financial cartel, which must be named. We'll start with the generic term. The pin-up boy, Rothschild, City of London, Evelyn de Rothschild, France, Paris, France, Frankfurt, Germany, Bank of International Settlements, Geneva, Zurich, all the rest, all these places. This is the rhetoric that matters. This is the only thing worth talking about. All wars are bankers. I'm not hearing it from any of the big mouthpieces because there's a reason. They work for them. I don't believe any of their numbers. I believe literally 70% of their comments are fake, either from fake humans, paid humans, or AI chatbots. And this is basically where we are. However, the American empire, I'm all for it, but there's a problem, of course. Rhetoric. Let's start with rhetoric. We need more rhetoric on the AI automated killing machine front and automated systems. That means there's movies coming out now about automated legal systems. Then there will be the military will be used to build the automated killing machines, the surveillance systems, and they're automating. It's not just going to have a human in the loop. They're looking for full automation. You designate a GPS area and everything there dies. That's what they're moving towards. They will then slowly but surely, if we watch the new RoboCop, the old RoboCop's good too, but the new RoboCop movie, which was released quite a few years ago, 10 years ago, watch that. That's about this issue. First, they put it in the military, then they bring it to the civilian streets. Now there's no human in the loop. And remember Bibi when he said, there's not that many Jews in the world. Seems they have a manpower problem, so I guess automating systems might be good. We still have the problem of Chabad Lubavitch, Jared shit for brains, closet homosexual Kushner, and that whack job Ivanka Trump running around in Chabad, seemingly making themselves indispensable, though no one can tell me why they're indispensable. This is one of the glaring aspects of the Trump administration of why they want literal neo-Nazi, racial supremacist lunatics with a long history, well-documented, open source of blood diamonds, using diamonds for drug money laundering, drug trafficking, sex slave trade, everything under the sun. They are the most vilest fucking humans on this earth. What are they doing in the White House? Number one. That's a problem. There's a big problem. I don't want someone coming in and telling me, oh, Brendan, well, we need these people. They run errands. They work for us now. When we take over a system, when we take over a demographic, a criminal network, we use them. It's like good old, Jeffrey Epstein. We just took all the compromat material and now they all work for us. It's a good thing. Well, I don't know. I think we live in an age of radical authenticity and people have had enough of dealing with dirty, stinking, flea-bitten rats of every kind, whether they be Jews, pretend Jews, or Goy. We want them all in the fucking, well, we want a lot of them executed publicly as a warning. And if that's too much for you, then certainly we want them locked in solitary confinement in Pelican Bay until they commit suicide and just rid themselves from the earth. At the end of the day, when we finally look in the mirror and realize we are the problem because we just sort of sit around and talk to each other online and fall for every trick on the book, until we can see the most obvious frauds that are before us, and we know what they are. I think we all know what they are, don't we? Where's bankers? Where's Wall Street? Where are the convictions? See, Bannon's got the beautiful rhetoric. Bannon's got millions and millions and millions and millions of views, but it's not showing. It's not regular enough. It's not forceful enough. It's not hardcore enough, and I'm not seeing it. Where is it? It's not happening enough. And so we need to have this moved in as quickly as possible. Strong rhetoric, which then moves into what? Literal public policy. So we need literal public policy. And I don't see no public policy, do you? Getting to the specifics of the national security state and the new documents about US foreign policy. Yeah, it's all good. I mean, when you start using language such as Europe is in civilizational decline, when you use language like rude language in terms of J.D. Vance telling we'll cut Europe off from the Suez Canal, see how they like that, see how they like the hyperinflation. When you start hearing that sort of language, that's not normal. Like, that means that's an act of war. And of course, when we talk about Israel, but Israel is merely a military base for the House of Rothschild, whether it's in UK, City of London, France, Germany, Switzerland, whatever. It's the same people every single time. It's generic, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but we have to move and demand that these people actually be physically arrested. They have to be physically removed from society. Their assets must be stripped, and you need to start talking this rhetoric. Don't just think about it, talk about it, push it, and demand that other people push this rhetoric. Because when you start to push the rhetoric, there's lots of people who will be happy to move on that, and they've just got to get past their supervisors who are preventing them from really implementing this policy, whether it's at the legislative level, whether it's at the level of the intelligence communities or state and federal policing and authorities. All right, so you've got to push that rhetoric hard. At the end of the day, how about you just free Europe and strip them of their assets? Well, I'll tell you why they can't. Because Europe has leverage over the US in terms of the critical infrastructure. We must also see immediate rhetoric on the return of ASML and IMEC, which is in Belgium. These are state-of-the-art research and design facilities. And guess where they are? Well, they're not in Phoenix, Arizona. They're in Europe. So that's Kissinger shipping over in the late 80s, early 90s, the most high-tech stuff you could possibly imagine being shipped to Europe, the Netherlands and Belgium. And until such time as the Netherlands and Belgium are actually working with the same rhetoric, with the same constitution and a Bill of Rights as the United States, until that time they get nothing. All their engineers will have to move, and I heard that they are opening visas to the top engineers at ASML and IMEC. This is a good sign because you can't just ship the equipment, you can't just ship the manufacturing, and that's all DARPA. This is US taxpayer-funded tech sitting over there in Europe. Why is that? Now, fine, have a center over there for lower-end stuff. Have TSMC doing lower-end stuff in Taiwan, but the top-end stuff's all done in the US. It's got to be done in the US. You, of course, have German paint technology with the amazing Carl Zeiss, the amazing Germans and their technology. Germany's falling apart, as we know, but it's all DARPA, Department of Energy, and the Department of Defense. That's US taxpayer money that created that entire ecosystem, and a lot of that is US patent technology. Now, no one can build that stuff alone because the supply chain is so diverse. The bottom line is you've got to start demanding these more esoteric things. It seems esoteric. I wish I had titties. I wish I could pole dance for you and make it more exciting, but I can't, so I'm sorry. But you've got to start demanding that sort of stuff. Put the rhetoric in the comment section. Put the demand that even people with smaller to moderate audience start talking about it, start articulating it, start ASML and IMEC must be moved back to the United States. But their top engineers will have to go as well because Americans are too busy being useless lawyers and various useless YouTube stars rather than electrical engineers. And the most important thing, because assembling those machines, see, they only assemble there. They don't manufacture anything in these places. They do R&D and they assemble. But just assembling those machines is like a freaking, it's what do they call it? Science and magic. It's not easy. You can't just do that. So these top people are going to have to move to the United States. So these are the issues that we don't see being discussed, or I don't, so please keep me informed. It's important. I just got my book on ASML, which I haven't read. I'm having trouble reading, actually. I think I've turned into a Marine. I only listen to audiobooks. But I've got to read a book. God, that's going to be difficult. So again, overall, and then we've got to look at the issues of drug money laundering. Well, they can't look at those issues because, of course, it's keeping the banking system alive, that liquid day-to-day slush of billions and billions and billions of dollars flooding around this banking system. We need some rhetoric, at least I'm talking rhetoric just for now, because it's going to take 10, 20 years to fix this. We need the rhetoric of the massive overhaul of the banking and financial system. They've got to have a massive overhaul of putting their hands, currency, printing, currency, quantitative easing has got to be put in the hands of the executive. It's got to be put in the hands of the literal executive. Now, amazingly, the executive can go to war. The executive can issue executive orders and do all sorts of things. But apparently the executive is not allowed to touch the money supply. That's in the hands of a private banking cartel, a private group of inbred individual pieces of garbage, totally removed from society. That has to end. The power to print the money will be in the hands of the people, by the government, for the government, of the government, with an engaged citizenry. That is logical. And in fact, the entire banking system will be controlled out of the United States. The entire banking system. Free America, free the world. It's not enough just to have your designated enemy, Europe. Are you going to free the European people? Are these Euro fags living in their fucking castles, never paid a dime's worth of tax in their fucking lives? Some might say, well, how about they fix their own problems in America first, Brendan? True, but this is what I mean. See, it's complicated. It's really easy to be a YouTube douchebag and just talk and talk. How do you fix it on a day-to-day level? There are so many things to untangle, so many things to talk about. We're not talking about them. So on the larger issue, I think the language is hardcore, identifying Europe as the enemy, as in civilization decline. This is harsh language, man. That's hardcore. That's declaring war almost. And that's a good thing. The difference is, are you going to free the European people, America, or are you just going to do a deal with the Eurofags and the castle dwellers of Europe? What's it going to be? And then America would really help if you actually led by example, because you are full of so much filth. We just saw the arrest of the Drug Enforcement Agency, CIA, all these top-level people assisting cartels. The problem is not in Mexico. The problem is in the United States especially. Yes, it's in London. Yes, it's in Europe as well. But the United States, if you can fix yourself, everything else fixes itself. It's really simple. But we can't even get a decent conversation. I'm sorry, who runs the drug trade? The Mexican cartels? No. The drug trade is run straight out of the United States especially. It's run out of London and it's run out of Paris, France, Frankfurt, Germany. That's who runs the drug trade. Can we please stop it? Just stop it. Mexico is your piñata that you can hit whenever you feel like it. America, with great power comes great responsibility. I remain slightly optimistic in terms of the big picture. It looks pretty good in terms of the big picture. I'm just trying to pretend I didn't see Gaza and the fact that US elites handed those 2,000-pound bombs. They ordered BB to get the job done. They said, clean up your Islamic terror network. Clean it up. And we're not spilling a drop of American blood. And you see the US moving in. Israelis are being caught spying on the new sections. They're being run out of the US. These are good things, but not good things when your entire family's buried under a bunch of rubble in the Gaza Strip. So I don't know what to say. I just try not to think about it. I told everyone from the start on October the 8th, 2023, I said, that's the end of Hamas, that's the end of Hezbollah, and who was right and who was wrong. They just wiped Hezbollah out, all their leadership, bang, 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 and it was just done. They don't sit there and tell me, you pining, weeping, we weep for the Palestinians. You don't weep, you don't care about the Palestinians. You don't care about the horrors that have been going on in the Middle East for the last 70 years. You couldn't give a shit. You're just selling coffee mugs and t-shirts. I was right, you were wrong. There you go. Hamas Hezbollah are products of MI5, MI6 or elements thereof, City of London, all the financial arms, shipping the $1 billion of drug money around to buy the weapons and create the chaos. There's Chabad with all their diamond money laundering. There's all the Lebanese Muslims and Lebanese Catholics out of Sydney shoving diamonds up their ass, or their women filling their vaginas with diamonds and all sorts of things, getting the drug money back to Lebanon, back into Lebanese banks and back up there into the Israeli state and especially Dubai, so that they continue the arms trade and continue the drug money laundering. Shame on all of you. You know what? The truth is going to come out and it's going to hit hard. We're going to find out a lot of truths. You wait. There is optimistic things. I'm just sorry it's being delivered by half-wits. But the thing is to generally unsettle everyone, as Rahm Emanuel said, never let a good crisis go to waste. That heated everyone up and created so much anxiety. I guess when the 3 more years, when the 4 years is up, we will see a return to some form of normal functioning, good or bad. But it would at least be more soothing to the eye of the politically astute. Because right now it's an F fest. It is just a clown show, circus show, and I think that is the plan. That is the plan. But when all is said and done, we'll see a resettling down. We'll see an end to the worst of the circus, and things will be, well, relatively good. There's going to be no zombie collapse. You're not going to be able to trade gold and silver. Your best bet, if you're truly worried about the future, is buy some land, get a community of people together. Your community relationships will mean more than anything. You arm yourself with your firearms and your ammunition, your water supplies, your clean water equipment, a digging equipment, a buried diesel and petrol tank, 40,000 litres, and earth-moving equipment and all the rest, solar gear. That's what I'd be investing in. If you truly believe your gold and silver is going to help you in the future. Put it this way, if there is some sort of collapse, ammunition will be worth a lot more than your stupid, useless gold coins and silver coins, I promise you. But this is the absurdity of it all, that somehow this will protect you even just generally financially. How? Because at the end of the day, when you want your money back, you're going to have to sell your gold. And I presume when you sell your gold, everyone's going to be selling their gold. So the clown show continues with the clown show financial advice, the Bitcoin bullshit and everything else. Sometimes I don't even know where to begin. Look, I got to go and get on a plane, and I'm catching up with Lee, which is going to be fun. And you bought him a drone, and let's see Lee get some good work done. And he'll be all by himself, of course, because remember, whatever you do, never leave your house, get a studio, sell coffee mugs and t-shirts, and tell everyone how angry you are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's just my brief analysis of the excellent, large-scale, large drawback from outer space point of view. Yes, it's all good. EU has been identified as the enemy. You bet it is. Crush it, destroy it, strip them of their assets, free the European people, free America, free the world. Talk again soon.
Do we have to put up with this? I mean, can't we get a better actor? I know it's a small part, but I think we can do better than this.